do it again. Take two.
This is my first live stream, you would think. Everybody, really quickly, I'm Evil Ted. This is my show, Coffee Talk. And today's guest is Fancy Jen Cosplay. Everybody, really quickly. The first half hour of the show, we'll be talking to Jen. The second half hour of the show, we'll be taking questions. This is being simulcast on my Twitch stream as well. So if you guys are on Twitch, the chat is not open. So if you want to hop over and talk to us, you can do that, but you have to do it on the Evil Ted channel on YouTube, where you can actually physically hear us. Apologize for the technical difficulties. Everybody, thank you so much for screaming mute. My friend Becky is laughing her butt off because you think I'd be ready. Okay, really quickly, I asked Jen while we were muted, you guys didn't hear it, what got you into cosplay?
So we were hanging out at our local comic book store, and they had, like the little free comic book day, like mini cons out in front of the store. And I just saw how the people were dressing up and coming to those. And my husband has a series of books. It's okay if I plug?
Yeah, plug.
Oh, it's called The Chronicles of M, like the letter M. And so he's 11 books in now. But we were selling his books in a little booth. And I thought, well, maybe if I dress up like all the other cosplayers, that people will come over to your booth more. And so I did Dr. Girlfriend from the Venture Brothers, and her pink like Jackie O dress.
Yeah, the Jackie O outfit.
And so that just that got me started, and it all snowballed from there. So.
And you just look because people knew who you were, and engaging and stuff. So did you embody the character at all? And
well, everybody asked me if I can do the voice.
And which is a guy. Gosh, I love that show so much. It's just just this deep man voice. That's why the irony is she's super sexy with this man voice. Oh God!
It's just like I can go like, "Hello, sweetie," which I found is hard because it's not just a deep voice, but it's also like a New Jersey accent. So it was I haven't really tried, but
no, but still, just a brilliant show. And I like that. There's an episode where the monarch is trying to get like call girls to beat her. He keeps saying, "Lower, say it lower." Get your voice lower. Okay, sorry guys, we digress. Anyway, but I was asking Jen, getting into cosplay and making your own costumes. Did you already know how to make stuff? Did you already sew before that, or did you?
A little bit. Like my mom sewed. She was actually a theater costumer. I roped her into that. Like when I was in second grade, I wanted to do theater. But she taught me how to sew. I made my own prom dress, but then I just kind of dropped it after that. So cosplay was my way of like getting back into that side of like creativity and having a maker space and creative outlet, which is really good.
Now, when did you discover there were these things called conventions?
Conventions it's just like that place where you find your people. Cause you can, like, I grew up being like a nerdy sci-fi person. Like my dad's a big Tolkien fan. And so like I grew up watching like Ghostbusters and Dune and all the aliens, and like when a lot of times the kids at school have no idea what you're talking about.
Right.
And so it's like, yeah, once you get to convention and like you could wear a shirt like this and like everybody like that likes that thing is just gonna like come right to you. So I love that part.
Excellent. When I started, I always tell people I started in the 70s as a kid, and Star Wars changed the world in many, like, because when I was growing up, I had five friends that liked the same things I did, and that was it. So, matter of fact, what is is there a favorite convention you go to? Is there a con that's your favorite you go to?
In Kansas City, our big one is Planet Comic-Con.
Planet Comic-Con, that's
Yes.
right. I've been there.
It is.
That's your guys' big local con.
Mm-hmm. And it is a really great con. Like people.
It's huge. They bring a lot out for it. They definitely do.
Yeah. People will say that they go like all around and they really like Planet. So like in comparison to others, like it's not just because it's there. A bit that is nice. It's 15 minutes from my house.
It is. But can I also a big shout out to all the local Kansas City con. that convention caters to all the local Kansas City cosplayers, and they're huge.
Yeah.
There's a lot. We have SKS Props, which is he's more of a teacher fabricator, but he also cosplays occasionally. You guys have Casey Renee Cosplay. And who else?
She's not.
Oh, she's not.
She comes to us a lot, though.
Yeah,
I
but
think
yeah.
she's doing
So who you got? Who
we
else
have
is local?
pros and cons.
That's it. Pros and cons.
Yeah.
Who else do you have local?
I'm trying to think of Folksy Cosplay is my friend. She's really up and coming. I'm trying to think of who else. Yeah, who would be well known, and I'm blanking out.
Don't worry, don't worry. But besides all that, so have you gone to other? Do you have any? You don't say you don't travel often for conventions. You said earlier.
Yeah, like I've come to LA. My sister lives here, but this is my first time that I've actually kind of made the call and traveled to a convention. So I'm here for LA Comic Con. So.
And so your plans to wear your wares and display and go to LA Comic. Who are you going to be wearing at LA Comic Con?
I'm going to be Mrs. Incredible.
Mrs. Incredible.
So,
I've actually seen many pocket pictures of that.
Yes, that's one where I was working like the booth for Planet Comic Con for like promoting the event at other events, and I needed one that would, appeal to the kids. And I was like, I could do Mrs. Incredible. It was like, I've got her figure, so there we go, we can do that. And so it's just been like my most popular costume, because it is it's basically you're like a Disney princess, but you're also a superhero. And so it's really awesome, like the response from people.
Who do you get the biggest response from? Kids, adults? I mean, who's the people that really bond over it?
The kids do love it, like it, and you're like, because the girls will come up to you and like be like, oh, it's Miss Incredible, but that you're not you're not like too princessy or girly for the little guys too, because you still kick butt and everything. So
now she has 2 different styles. I noticed that, and you have both of them, don't you?
I have 3 of them actually now.
So that's right, because she does in the original series. She has like the white and red, right? And then she becomes one of the Incredibles. She's got the red and then black, orange and black, or reddish black, red, black, and then there's a third one.
There's a third one from the second movie where she's silver and black.
That's right.
Yeah, and so I've made all 3 now, and so they just announced that they're making a third movie, and so
they are.
Yeah, they just announced that at the D23 convention, and so I don't know when it's coming out, but I'm excited to see if she gets another outfit.
Because it was interesting, because I still love the first one very much, and when they did the second one, I was like, oh wait, it actually was good. Like they pulled it off. So a third one, wow. Okay, I've got my fingers crossed. Now, speaking of cosplay, is there cosplayers that when you were doing your cosplays, people that you started doing research and who are some of your favorite cosplayers that you follow and admire?
Well, the first person I ever watched was you.
Oh, thank you.
I was actually like looking at YouTube videos, and my mom was like, what do you want on your Christmas list? And I sent her one of your videos. It was like, these are the the equipment you need to get started in cosplay. And I was like, here, Mom, this video, this is everything I want for Christmas.
So, well, I'm glad I was I was the gateway drug to cosplay. I want to tell people too that that's one thing about cosplay that I want to tell you people while you guys are watching this at home on our live stream here, is that you don't need a Cricut cutter, you don't need a 3D printer. All you need is your 2 hands, your imagination, and some basic tools to make. There's all these videos out there, not just myself, but other creators out there, that in this climate right now, there's a lot of young people like, I have friends like, oh, Mom, my son's asking for a 3D printer. I'm like, to do 3D printing or to get into cosplay? I'm like, you don't need a 3D printer or a laser cutter to get into cosplay. You can do that stuff. You can get it down the road. I'm not bashing those people. I'm just saying that there's an intimidation factor of thinking you need all this stuff and you don't. Real basic tools.
Yeah.
Amen.
I know. It's like you need like glue and a box cutter and
some
good.
tools
You're
and some
like,
patterns, guys.
Yeah.
And I have them on my website, so check them out. Okay, but that's great. So you watched me. Anybody else?
I have to shout out to Beverly Downen.
Beverly,
yes.
Woo! Get coffee sip for that one.
Yep.
To Beverly. And really quickly, guys, Beverly Downen, if you guys do not know, she's a phenomenal cosplayer, and she has a great book out. I even have a cosplay of it, but book of it. But it's EVA foam crafting for Like Me. She made a great book. I can't remember the title of it. Anyway, it's a Bible for people who want to get into cosplay. Stuff you starting off, definitely look for it. It's a great book.
Yeah, Speaking of cricket cutters, like I got one because I saw of what she can do with a cricket cutter. Um,
You can do great
I
stuff with it.
I did wait for like the Black Friday sale to come around so I could get one, and then but I that helps on like if you're trying to do really intricate tiny details, but not every costume needs that. So.
Right. It's again, it's like it's just one of those things where I'm not against them. You just got to work your way up to them. I always feel like if you buy. I want to eventually. I won't lie. I'm slowly, gradually learning Inkscape, how to do drawing on a computer because I want to get a laser cutter. But I've taught myself that don't get a laser cutter until you learn how to use it. So I got to learn how to draw patterns first. Once I'll be able to draw the patterns, then I can take the pattern files and put them into a laser cutter. That's my dream down the road. But I got to teach this old brain some techniques. What are some things you would like to learn down the road, or techniques or things you want to get into?
On my next costume that I've started on, I want to do lights, and
Ooh.
I haven't really done anything with like circuitry before. I think for this one I might just start with fairy lights, but maybe later down the road working up to actually having like the programmed little like
Arduinos and things like. Yeah, I know nothing of it, but there is
Yeah.
apparently a book out, like Electronics for Dummies or something like that. Or I know Kamui did a book on electronics. I know the basics. I know how to put lights to a battery to a switch, and that is it.
Yeah.
And I see these like with Kamui, they got the pulsing, tracing lights and things, and they're like, all you have to do is. I'm like, I'm sure there's a little bit more to that than
Yeah.
learning, but
Yeah.
so that's what you want to learn eventually, right? Do your
Yep.
lighting. So what's the
Yep.
costume with the lights? What is that?
I was looking through one of the local artists that I've done a project with, and he did these really cool stained glass versions of different superheroes. And so it's like a stained glass version of Jean Grey as the Phoenix. And so I'm gonna try to make she's like in like sort of red armor with big wings, and I want to try to keep that stained glass effect. So I'll have like the light coming from behind the armor.
Right.
So well, it's like I've got the base done and just working on that whole like getting the details and layers and everything planned out in my head. So
Wow, that sounds
Yeah.
like again, like just pushing the comfort zone. Like you say, I've never done it, but you want to do it, so you're going to learn how to do it.
yeah,
See, fantastic. Now, in this crazy world of cosplay, we all have things we have to do to keep the rent paid, the food on the table. What do you do professionally, Jen? What do you?
I'm a dietitian. So specifically a nutrition support dietitian. So I do tube feeding and IV nutrition for people who can't eat regular food.
So you design food for people that can't eat, that can be fed into them like with a tube, right?
Yeah.
And so your mission is to have enough food, to be able to put food in the body to keep them healthy.
Yeah.
So when you said that, so not losing weight, gaining weight.
Yes. Actually, like 30% of people who are admitted to hospitals are malnourished in the U.S. And then unfortunately, when they leave the hospital, it seems like 60% of those people leave malnourished. So it's kind of like in the hospital, the dietitians are mostly just trying to prevent malnutrition from getting worse while you're there, and helping the people with cancer and other things that might keep them from getting in enough nutrition.
Wow. Now,
So-
how'd you get into this profession?
It's one of those things where it's like you're just in the right place at the right time. I started out as a physics major, and then it was like I went pre-med, and then I was like, I don't want to be in school till I'm 30.
Wow.
But then went into nutrition, and it just it's like one thing leads to another, and this is kind of like I'm almost feel like I'm partly a pharmacist, really. So I'm gonna figure out how much potassium chloride does this person need today.
Wow.
You know.
That is some education. Wow, something seriously. Well, that's a job. That's
Yeah.
unique. Wow, thank you. That's amazing. With that being done, I follow you guys really quickly. I threw in the chat earlier, but I can throw it back in. If you guys are watching chat, peace. That is your social media links as well. I noticed in some of your pictures you do some modeling.
Yes.
So you got a job, you cosplay, and you also model on the side.
Mhm.
Now, how did you get into that?
Because I was an army brat, I went to high school in South Korea, and so in South Korea, I'm very tall and considered exotic.
An American.
Yes. Um, and so I got approached by an agent while I was there.
And how old were you in this?
16, 17 years old.
In South Korea?
In South Korea. And so did a lot of like catalog shoots. I'm on a few boxes. Like I have the box where I'm on the water bottle box. Um, and then I did a few like high-end fashion things where like the dress is $4,000 and I was afraid to be wearing it. But
this is all in Korea. That's where we got launched. So
Yeah.
you were just like, they would do stuff like for marketing, bottled water, food products.
Yep, I somehow got pegged, like typecast as a bride and a mom, even though I was 17 years old. Um, so I did a lot of baby products and wedding dresses. Yeah, coming to the States is a little harder to, get recognized, and especially when you're moving around a lot in the Army.
So you started in Korea, and where else did you go to?
Let's see, it's like Texas, Kentucky, New York, Kentucky, Kansas, Korea, Virginia, Kansas.
Wow.
So
Landed on Kansas.
yes, we do a lot of K places that we say. But yeah, I went to 11 different schools, if you count college. So
Good
yeah.
grief. Wow. Because my friend Heather, she was I think also was an Army brat, and it does you get, there's some pros and cons. I mean, because it's very worldly, you get to see so much more, but not having a place to call home.
Yeah. My parents are from Cincinnati, so it's kind of like we're from Cincinnati, but I never actually lived there. So
And were you guys? What was the stint when you would stay? How long would you stay for?
1 to 3 years usually. So it just kind of depends on the assignment, on like what my dad's job was while we're there.
Wow. So in cosplaying, what I noticed you do a lot of fabric. So, what is your? Because for me personally, my comfort zone's foam. I do everything foam. Like if I'm going to build something or see a costume, like, oh my god, I can make that out of foam. But your strong point, I feel, is fabric, because I see a lot of sewing. And so, have you? So between foam and fabric, your choice usually is fabric.
I actually like doing both. Like having a little bit of both is, I think.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I agree
Yeah.
too. I can't sew to save my life, and if I do anything with fabric, it's usually me gluing things. I never stitch or sew. I just glue it. So.
What I got started doing was I would buy stuff at the thrift store or find something really close on like Amazon and then do what I could to alter it.
Right.
And I still do that actually. Like I'm being Miss Incredible tomorrow, but my sister's going to be Edna Mode for me. And so I found a dress at the thrift store that was pretty close but needed longer sleeves.
Right.
So I bought pillowcases and I made the sleeves out of the pillowcases. So it's like, in that way, her whole outfit was like $10. And it's so like I do a lot of that. I actually did a panel on thrifting for cosplay.
Right.
Because I made Sarah's ball gown from Labyrinth, and I pretty much made most of it from an 80s wedding dress and sheets and curtains and wedding decorations and a lot of random things that I just like found and put together. So
That is because when it comes to me in cosplay, you're absolutely right. When it comes, I hate to admit it, but when it comes to making something, I usually get on Amazon. You're right. I'll buy something close, and then modify it. Although I won't lie, when the Mandalorian started, there was somebody on Etsy that made the Mandalorian fabric Under Armour, and it was gorgeous, and it was pricey. But I wanted to do this, so I know I speak not just for myself, but many people. I bought it, got it, sat on it. I think it was during COVID, and they have pieces. I still have. I've never, because something else would come up, like, ooh, here's another shiny object, and and next thing you know, I'm 4 projects in, finish those things, and I still have this costume sitting in a box. So I have a complete Mandalorian Under Armour in a box, plus a Colonial Marine from Aliens fabric, and I have all these pieces, and I have a Dread costume, and they're all in boxes, and none are finished. So it's that day where you have to pick something, but yes, fabric, again, I jumped off the track, but anyway, buying something pre-existing and then sticking stuff on top of it's always my choice. And that's why I got the Mando with the intention of making armor for it, but never got around to it. But again, like buying undergarments, but you actually can sew.
Yeah, and I've done a lot of like just YouTubing stuff.
Yes.
Um,
YouTube.
yeah. Yes. Because I don't know how to do patterning like fashion designers do, where they're like, this is the garment I want to make, and they draw the whole pattern. I haven't gotten that far, but I have done what they call like Frankensteining patterns, where I
Right.
take like, this is kind of the bodice I want, and this is the waist I want, and this is the sleeve I want, and I can like kind of take different ones and put them together, and a lot of that does come from just like watching other people do it and be like, okay, so that's how you use that ruler and things like that. So
Right. That you do learn, and that's how I got my in the industry. When I started working in the movie business, I had a general knowledge, but then I started working with these super talented people and be like, oh my god, and you would just—it's the same thing what YouTube does for you people out there. Is like I was working with really talented people, and I would watch them do something, and my mind was blown, like, and it stuck with me. So there's certain things you see that really makes an impact on you, and you just kind of stick with it. Tell you what, let's take this portion of the show to start taking some questions from our live audience out there, guys, really quickly. And if you guys are watching this on Twitch, you can hop over to the Evil Ted channel on YouTube and join us for chat. So if you guys have any questions for Jen, Fancy Jen, please hop on in, ask Jen, and because she's out for the Los Angeles Comic Con, which is down in Los Angeles. It's in the LA Convention Center, and it's massive. It is huge. It's crazy. So have you been there yet?
no,
You're saving it for your big day Saturday, right?
or Sunday tomorrow. Because my sister has actually never been to a convention,
Oh.
so we were like, you got to dip your toes into these things,
Oh,
especially
so Sunday's actually a good day to go.
Yeah,
It's not. You're right. It's not as manic.
yeah.
You'll still be able to see things and not be crazed.
I am sad though that I'm missing the costume contest tonight though. That was like, but I couldn't like derail the whole vacation schedule just for that. So I'll have to see if they stream it online or something.
But I think they might. It's a good question. I don't know if they do. Are there all kinds of contents and lights and sounds over the internet hold on. It says, it's question time. Somebody, is there all?
There is all kinds of content.
For lights and sounds all over the internet and for free.
Oh,
All
good
right,
to
Lee
know.
Bear, good to know. Well, really quickly, if there's things out there, please, you can grab those links. If there's something in there, if you guys want to, you can grab the link and throw it in chat so we can see it. If there's a link, something you guys want to share with us. Hi, Jen from Kansas City.
What has been your favorite prop or cosplay that you have worked on?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Let's see. I mean, I'm very partial to my Labyrinth ball gown, just because that was probably my favorite movie when I was little, and so the fact that I pulled that off, I'm just very proud of, and I did it for under $300, like wig, jewelry, shoes, everything. I did under $300. So
Wow,
yeah.
nice, excellent, great question. Because I have. As you said, there's always so many cosplays. There's always something that stands out you like the best. Great question. Super Voodoo says, do you have a dream cosplay you'd like to make someday?
I've actually told Ted this before, but I really want to make Ripley's power loader. I don't know how I'm going to pull it off logistically. Just, like I drive a Toyota Yaris, so how do you get it from point A to point B when like only a leg would fit in the back seat?
Right. There's logistics. That's what stopped me from making a power armor, not power armor, but a space marine. People are like, oh, you can make a space marine? I'm like, where would I put it?
Yeah.
I couldn't carry with it. But it's actually good. There's a young cosplayer in Kansas City that just did a power loader as well. I think she modified it a little bit smaller, but it was really great. Unfortunately, I wish I had her name. I'm sorry, but she made a great power loader. Do you have silicone molds? Danny, are you talking to who? Me, Jen? Adafruit Learning Systems is a great way to start with LED projects. All right.
Okay.
Here's one for you, Jen. It says,
What's a good way to start learning to sew?
Good question.
Well, I know in Kansas City particular, we have a lot of little like sewing school places actually. One is called like Rightfully Sewn. There's the Sewing
Oh, what a
Labs.
great name.
Yeah. There's like there are places where there's like a Missouri sewing machine company. So I know if you're not in Kansas City, you're not going to know those places, but I'm sure there's in other cities there's going to be similar things where you can go and take like the basic sewing class.
I might need it because I think that's what I need. Because I got a sewing machine, and then it turns out that I got one, but then the bobbin spool thing in the bottom's apparently broken. That somebody over here actually knew how to sew. She goes, "Here, I'll show you." And she goes, "Oh, wait a minute, your thing's broken." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, great." So now I got to take it to a repair place. So I got to get it repaired before you start learning. But just being able to push fabric, I understand the concept of making something you got to fold it and stitch it and fold it back in. That much I do understand. I want to start being able to do that and not have it jam up on me. So
A lot of that is learning your machine, because every machine model is a little bit different, and then learning your fabric. So every time you do a different fabric, you have to reset your machine, use a different needle, sometimes different threads. So it's like sometimes I'm Googling a lot, like which needle goes with this fabric and stuff like that. So a lot of people get very frustrated because they're trying to sew spandex through this like their grandmother's machine, and
it won't.
yeah, it's like you have a lot. I've learned that like a lot of the older machines can't handle stretch fabrics because they were built before the thing was invented.
Right.
So there's just all that like it's you can't get too frustrated if you haven't been able to do it before, because there's a lot of little nuances like that if you didn't know, you should probably test on some scraps first and then adjust all your thread tensions and things like that. That's why it's in-person classes are really helpful.
See, that's and exactly. I'm the same way. I need to learn. We're like, it says Danger Angel has been raiding me on Twitch. Thank you, Danger. Thank you so much for the raid on Twitch. Again, everybody, if you're watching this on Twitch and want to talk to us, please pop over here on YouTube or the Evil Tad channel on YouTube. Thank you so much, and thank you, Becky, for the information. Becky said, "I'll teach you how to sew." I know, Beck. I need hands-on. You're too far from me, Beck. I know. I want to learn. I will. I just need somebody to teach me. Again, let me say, when I started my this YouTube channel, and I got into editing my videos, I got Adobe Premiere, and I watched a ton of videos, and I couldn't tell you how to edit. And then my friend Holly Conrad came over, sat down with me for an hour, and showed me the basics, and I was off and running. There's something about having hands-on that really helps. Again, I know that I do a YouTube channel where I teach people how to do stuff on YouTube, but I always try to go through very slowly and do it step by step and not cut anything out. It's really good, and that's what I need to learn. I do hand sewing. I do too. I do the hoop stitch. I'm the hoop stitcher guy. But great. These are great questions, guys, by the way, really quickly.
That's how I really got into foam too, is that I got to do a hands-on in-person class. And Pros and Cons and Bruce Holt taught one in Kansas City. And like
Bruce, I know Bruce.
Yeah, he's one of our local people that I forgot to mention before.
Yeah, Bruce, don't worry. I know you, Bruce. Thanks. Bruce is great. He was one of those guys that reached out to me when he started doing the foam thing, and it was like there was an addiction he didn't know he had until I introduced him to it, and now he just turned into a foam monster. He keeps sending me pictures. I'm like, dude, he takes foam building to a level to where I was comfortable, and he just keeps going beyond. Bruce is quite the crafter, and I have to say a big shout out to Bruce. Bruce, what does he go?
Forged in foam.
Forged in foam. That's it. So, okay. But great, Bruce. Thank you. He's a great fabricator. Why should we be attending LA Comic Con other than? So what was that? She said?
It's on my short list for competition venues.
Oh, that's it. Becky said she'd like to come. Yeah, it's on her short list. Becky is quite the. Becky and I became friends on Twitch. People really quickly. She's better known as Going Ape Costume, and I found her on Twitch, and then just a mom in her house building, and now she's out doing competitions. She's killing it, and she's become a local rock star, and now she's judging. Yeah, and Becky does amazing stuff. She always is challenging herself in the cosplay world. I would love to have my friend Becky on this show, Coffee Talk. Someday, Becky, someday. Going Ape Costume, I'll have you on someday. I love the Borgie, that's right. And Bruce did a Borg. I love Borg. I did a Borg costume too. And it's so funny, I built it so long that I can't get my ass back in it because I put on 5 pounds. I made it really tailored, so I want to wear it again, but I'm going to have to remake the midsection because I added a little weight over COVID, so I do want to remake it. The other portions of it I can still get into, just around the midsection got a little thick, but that's a great costume. does anybody, please, guys, I'll open up. We're taking questions.
Yeah.
If you guys are watching on Twitch, hop on over here. We have some, please, open to questions. Wait, Becky says,
What? I am just going to go. Like, I've actually never been to another big con outside of Kansas City. I got into cosplay like later, like after grad school, kid, everything. So I haven't had a chance to like travel about. Like the next one on my list is probably C2E2. So
oh, man, I
like,
went, yeah, C2E2. I went to Chicago. Went to C2E2. They brought me out and, whew, that was an experience because they wanted me to do workshops. And so I ended up working a deal with them and my friend Tristan, oh my God, I'm so bad with names. Tris Rex, basically he's great, makes aliens. You know what I'm talking about? He's huge in Kansas City and he was nice enough to get me the foam for the workshops we did. And we did 3 classes a day and it was insane. I'll never do it again. I'll do a class a day, not 3. I was barely at my booth. It was insane. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. C2E2, definitely a con we're seeing. Question for me. Question for Ted. What has been your favorite prop you have made? It's always the last thing I built. Like, you always build so much things. But I built, my last thing I built was I made the Akira laser rifle. I loved the movie Akira. And so my friend Danica was doing a Kickstarter to raise money to do a documentary, which she's doing right now. So she raised the money, and so as a Kickstart thing, I made a rifle as a giveaway, and I realized I didn't want to make it and get rid of it, so I had to make 2 at the same time. And after making it, I kept thinking, why did I wait so long to make this? It's super cool. So that was my last thing I built. I'm really proud of. And my space helmet. Guys, I made a space helmet. I was so proud of it. I made another one to give to Adam Savage, and he liked it so much he did a video about it. So that's cool. That's my favorite.
Is that the one I have?
Huh?
Is that the
No,
space helmet?
no, it's a space. It's got the clear visor. I'll show you.
okay.
I'll definitely show you one later. Nice. Do you revise making costumes? Super goes. Do you like revisiting or remaking costumes or exploring new ideas? I do. I have costumes I like fixing. There's costumes I've had, I've worn, and I realize that my skill level as a costumer or builder is getting better every year I build. I learn more, and I don't just learn from doing, but also learn from other makers out there. I'll see something and go, oh my God, what a great idea. So I always like improving on costumes I already have. I have that red demon I wear sometimes. I've revisited that costume. I remade the hands. I revisited the faceplate. I end up changing things on that. I have that costume, but I keep tweaking it and making it better over time. Yeah, I've seen way too much stuff out there. Oh, you want to make it? Yeah, dude, there's a guy in Brazil, I think he made a Akira motorcycle. This question's for you, Ted. I would like to make a creature from the Black Lagoon out of foam, but I'm afraid it would tear. Oh, how can you prevent that? That's a great question. And I'll tell you how I would do it. I would use upholstery foam. You got to do a duct tape body former yourself, put a spandex suit on it, and you would do the layers. There's Rick Baker.
Oh.
Rick Baker, if you guys aren't following him on Instagram, he's making one, and he's doing the exact same thing. He's taking a body and he's doing foam and doing layers of foam with upholstery foam, and once it's done, he's going to seal it with some probably spray glue and then coat it with rubber. But that's how you'd foam. So he's foam fabricating. So go to Rick Baker because he's actually making one, I think, as we speak.
I also would shout out to Say No to Scrunchies.
Say no to crunchies. So say no to scrunchies.
Scrunchies, yeah. She made a female couture.
That's right, she did.
Black,
yes,
yeah.
That's another one you guys can follow. She made a great headpiece that dropped on, and I of course, liked it, made comments about it. Yeah, she did a great female creature of the Black Lagoon, but she styled it.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yes, I know that, guys. That's a great costume. What is your name again?
Say No to Scrunchies.
Say No to Scrunchies, what a great name. That's brilliant. To make sure we didn't miss any questions here. Do you like Reason? Yeah, we did that one. She's amazing. Oh, Becky even knows. Yeah, she is. She's fantastic.
Let's see.
Jen, would you like to know what you had to learn? Jen, what would have liked to know starting
out?
Starting out. Oh, what would you?
I'm just trying to think how to narrow that down. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, right. It's like
Yeah.
it's yeah. Like it,
There's still. I mean, there's. I'm trying to think. I was very intimidated by foam. Like,
most people are.
yeah. Like
That's why I wanted to do my YouTube. Exactly.
yeah. So when I had the chance to do the online in person class, it was great to be able to see that and do it. So if you know anybody that can show you in person how to do it, it is a lot simpler than it seems.
It's true.
Um, but a lot of it can just be like, oh, you're putting too much glue on right now, because it'll feel like you can't get it to stick. Why won't it stick? And it's just something like, if you wiped off the glue, let it get tacky a little
And let
bit
it
longer,
dry.
and then it'll stick. But it's like, not every video that you've watched will mention anything like that, and you've got to sit there and cry over it for half an hour. But there's, if you could,
Yeah,
just
the thing is, that's my big. When I did cosplay and I started doing workshops, I discovered that's why I'm going to kind of revisit it. I'm working on videos right now. Instead of just doing build videos, I'm going to make videos that are just about tools and how to do certain things, how to cut, how to glue. And the biggest one is with contact cement. People, it's like you think glue's wet, you hold it till it dry and it sticks, and that's the standard glue. Not with contact cement. Contact cement works in its name. You apply it to the foam on both edges, and you let it and put it on thinly, and then let it dry, like usually like 5 minutes till it's dry enough to you can touch it. It doesn't come off in your fingers, and then you put it together. And sometimes it's so thin that the first coat soaks into the foam, so you have to let it dry and apply a second coat. And it depends if how thick the glue is. If it's thick, you do one coat. If it's thin, you do two coats. And it's that stuff I've learned over the years that you've got to teach people. That I love contact cement so much, and that was my biggest learning curve too. So once you get the glue thing down, cosplay becomes easy.
yeah.
That is true. It's the glue is the trick,
And I would say also it's okay to mess up.
because that's how you learn,
And,
people.
Yeah, like there's been many costumes where like I was trying so hard because I'd mess up a seam or something, and I'd try forever and ever and ever just to like hide the mess up and not have to start all over again. Which, I mean, it's still hard to do, to like start over again, but just giving yourself that forgiveness to be like, I'm not perfect, and it's okay to like. So the foam isn't that expensive.
No, it isn't, guys. Go to Harbor Freight. Go to Harbor Freight. You can get the floor mats and the roll foam. It's super cheap. Start with the cheap stuff. And every time I make a pattern for my shop, I take about 3 builds. It takes 3 builds for me to get it to where I like it. Be prepared to mess up and do it again. But I always tell people, when you're making a costume, it's like crossing bridges. It's like you do one project at a time. Start with the shoulder. Don't build the whole costume, just start with the shoulder. Then move on to the forearm, and then the hell. Like, take pieces of the armor. Don't think about the whole thing. Just start pieces at a time. And by the time you get to your last piece, you'll look at your first piece, and you'll want to remake it because you've gotten better. It just takes time. Oh, we have a question. Oh, it's a question for Ted. Would you? I would like the creature. Oh, I already asked that one, right? Yeah, sorry, that one.
I would say too, like when I started first making foam, I would paint the pieces as I went, and so I'd have like one complete bracer, like completely like done, and then like you move on to the chest armor, and then I tried to paint that all out, and I couldn't get it to match the bracer, and so it's like I couldn't understand, why would you like wait to have the whole thing done in foam head to toe before you painted. And because I guess
Now you learned.
Yeah, I guess because I love painting, I get really excited, like, it's time to paint. But yeah, don't do that. Paint all at once.
Yeah, it's like that. I like to build. Once all the building's done, you seal everything at once, and then paint everything at once. Becky says, have you had it what you thought was a spectacular mistake, but it turned out it wasn't? Something I mean, that was what I mean. I thought it was going to be a spectacular mistake, but it turned out it wasn't.
When I was first learning to do Dremel tool,
Right.
of course, like, you have to get the hang of like not just blasting through the foam. And so I think my Ripley's pulse rifle was the first thing I actually made out of foam. It was a Nerf gun it's not even a Nerf gun, it's just like some random toy gun.
Right.
And I covered it in the shape of a pulse rifle to kind of make it look like a pulse rifle.
Right.
but I just kind of went like, and I made this horrible gash in the foam rather than just rounding off the corner.
Right.
But then you're just like, battle damage. And so there's that sort like that's just the first thing off the top of my head. But that I've definitely done a lot of things where it was like, okay, now this is going to be splattered in blood, because
Right. I think with rotary tools, by guys out there, when you have a rotary tool, is that the best thing I've learned over the years when you have a rotary tool, you have to go the direction it's spinning. When you turn it on, it's spinning. Go in that direction and go high speed and apply and go very lightly, a bit at a time. And stone bits are great. Sanding drums are great, remove a lot of foam, and stone bits are great for just cleaning things up. If you want to soften edges, but yeah, go in the same direction as a rotary tool helps a lot. Daniel asked Jen, asking this a Jen question, have you ever done any mashups, like any cosplay mashups, crossovers?
Yep, I did one that just kind of happened based on the fact that I found some ruby slippers at the thrift store, and I was just like, I gotta have ruby slippers because they're here.
Right.
And I decided to. I also had a Slytherin jacket, and so I made a Slytherin Wicked Witch of the West.
That's a good idea.
Are you a good witch or a bad witch? You know, like Slytherins are bad witches. And so I was all painted green and everything, and I had the ruby slippers on, but I was a Slytherin. So it's
wonderful. That's a great mashup
Yeah.
because they're both witches. We have another question here for you. Leo says, for you both, first Jen, absolutely love your
Eowyn.
Oh, what's that from?
Lord of the Rings.
Oh, Eowyn from Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm.
It's a work of art. Oh, look at that. Very nice. Thank you.
you.
How does one get foam to look like old bronze?
Well, I actually did a little video on that. I might be able to find it and link it. But I did a lot of paper towel painting. So I have most of my Eowyn is made out of 2mm foam. I just bought the giant roll from Joann's.
Right.
And there's some SKS foam in there too. But I did a lot of just like a brown base coat or a black base coat, and then I took several different colors of brown, some metallic paints for the metal ones.
Right.
But when I painted, I just used a paper towel on a paper plate and just basically kind of dry brushed, but just like this,
stippling, yeah,
onto the foam, and did several different colors, and not even evenly. And then to get kind of like that tanned leather look, I used Mod Podge in a spray bottle, and so it was just kind of speckled on there rather than being like if you were doing space armor,
right,
you would
right.
do a smooth, but this one is just very like splattered on there, so it has shininess but not consistently.
Oh, nice technique.
So,
that's a cool technique.
Yeah.
That's the one thing about bronze. Again, when it comes to painting, guys, really quickly, SKS Props is phenomenal at painting, and I love building. I won't lie, I love patterning, I love making, and then when it's all done, I'm done. Like that's my part. And there's people that build like you that just want to get to painting. Like I want to hurry up and get it done so I can paint it. I'm the opposite. That's the least thing. I want it to be done and hand it off to somebody else to paint. Like I was teasing Steven, if he lived close to me, I would just make stuff and hand it off to him to paint. Like I paint because I have to, and I've learned all my painting techniques are just hacks to do it quickly. So again, but I found with paints, it's great to do something with metallics. Doing different shades of the same metallic but on top of each other breaks it up. It really does. It gives this kind of sense of like organic to them. It makes them look the difference. But Aaliyah says to Ted, just built your vampire armored chest armor. How would one help to cover the seams? Love your work. Oh, thank you. What I use to cover my seams is gap filler, and it's made by Prop Monkey Studios. You guys can jump on my website. I think I have a link for it, but Prop Monkey Studios makes it. It is the best way to describe it. It's joint compound for cosplay. It comes in a jar. I think it now. I have it back here, but trust me, it's in a jar like a paste. And what's cool about it, you can ladle it on with a spatula, get it smooth it out, wet your finger and smooth it, and then when it dries, it stays flexible. Doesn't shrink or anything. You rub it, smooth it out, let it dry, and then when it dries, you can go back in with 220 and sand it. It's it's like I can't describe it, like it's a game changer in cosplay with holes and seams. So just like you said, sometimes I'd screw things up like, oh, battle damage. If there's something particular or big seams, if seams get too big, I always tell people, don't kill yourself, just remake it. Just make it better, or make it glue it back together. But gap filler, game changer, people. That fixes your seams.
I've also dremeled over the seam a little bit.
Yeah, if you get high points, you can definitely drum over it, clean it up.
Yeah.
But for holes and pitches, yeah, gap filler. Great question. And you said thank you so much. Yeah, I think there's links from on my website, eviltedsmith.com. These are great questions, guys. Any have more questions? You know, I'm about to yell from my wife. Do you want another cup of coffee?
I'm good.
You good? Okay. All right, good. We're up here getting jacked up on coffee, so.
Coffee break.
Here at Coffee Talk.
Yeah.
Oh, guys, yeah, we're getting close. We have like 15 minutes left in the show. Everybody, really quickly, does anybody have any more questions? Tell you what, while we're waiting for more questions, Jen, tell people where they can find you.
Oh yes, I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram.
And that's tell your name.
Okay, it's all under Fancy Jen Cosplay. So I got it pretty consistent across everything. I do have a YouTube. I just basically kind of cross post across everything, but whichever you like best. I've got Facebook as well.
Again, also too, I put her Instagram in chat. Guys, click on that. If you go to her Instagram, I think she has links for all those places where they can follow her.
Yep, I have my own website, fancyjencosplay.com. It's very basic. I'm not a web designer, so
Nor am I. I have people that maintain it. My assistant Pete does too. So.
Yeah. So I someday I'll make it look better, but it's basically kind of one of those link lists of just like where all my things are.
Look, guys, so guys, please give a Fancy Jen Cosplay a follow. And if you guys are new to this channel and you like cosplay and like being a maker and want to learn more about cosplays, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. This is my show, Coffee Talk, but I also have many videos on how to build, and that's how I got Jen hooked up on making foam armor.
Yeah.
And Jen, thank you so much for your support. So guys, really quick, does anybody have any more questions, please? We're getting ready to wrap the show. We have 13 minutes, right? Yeah, 13 minutes.
Yeah.
We're counting down. Anybody have, please, more questions on our live stream. And if you guys are watching us on Twitch, don't forget, if you have any more questions, hop over here on the Evil Ted channel on YouTube. Because we're going to drink some coffee. And what else do you have planned? You going to see some sights while you're here in LA?
Going to LA Comic Con tomorrow. Probably going to go to the beach, I think.
Oh.
Because we don't have oceans in
I keep
Kansas.
forgetting that. I live here and I never go to the beach. Because I've never been really a beach person. So people are like, I live here. And the advantage of living here is that you can go to the desert, you can go to the canyon, you can go to the mountains, and you can go to the beach. That's one thing about living in California. Geographically, it's insane, all the stuff you can see. That's one of the great pieces about things I love living here. I mean, I won't lie, there's a love-hate relationship with Los Angeles, but you live here long enough, you find the good stuff. So, and it's a great place to eat. So, I love LA.
Yeah.
I'm one of the few people. I love LA. So any more questions, please, for the group, guys? Anybody? Going once, going twice? Jim, what do you have planned in the future? Anything you got coming up?
There's Planet Anime going to be in Kansas City in a couple weeks.
Planet Anime?
Yeah, so I'll be a guest there.
So guys, Planet Anime for all you guys in Kansas City.
And trying to think what else is next after that. Well, there's like Planet Comic Con then in March, so I've got that like competition build that'll probably eat up most of my time in the middle there.
Oh, you going for a comp? Can you say what it is? You know?
Oh well, the Jean Grey like stained glass window.
Oh, that's the one. That's what you're working. That's what
I'm hoping.
That's your deadline.
Yep.
Oh, getting that deadline.
We'll see. And I help out with a couple of the smaller conventions in town. So we just had a littler one called KC Retro, which is like a small gaming convention. So I've gotten into doing like judging at competitions at those smaller ones, and that if you're into doing competing, if you can get a chance to be a judge at like a smaller convention, I feel like that really opened up like my eyes to like the behind the scenes, how it works. It takes a lot of the scariness out of it once you see like how the judges are just as stressed out as the competitors.
Here's people. I do it when people want. They usually hire me for it. It's my least favorite thing to do. But if they bring me out and pay me for my my appearance fee and say we'd like you to judge, I do it. The thing is that what's sufferable about it is that you have so many people and there's so many great costumes. Sometimes you go to smaller conventions, it's easier. There's some people novice and middle class, and there's always one good guy that stands out. It's pretty easy. When you have these big conventions and everybody's really good, then you have to start looking at seams, and you have to start looking at the fabric underneath the costume. Like, okay, well, the armor is great. What about the fabric underneath it? Is it store bought? They make it by hand. So you have to start getting picky, and it's just, it's maddening. It's so stressful because you want to give props to who did the work, and that's why there's a little bit of a lot of drama. Like some people will be people who are fans will get mad because the guy that didn't win, like they thought was going to win, didn't win. That's because you're not looking at the costumes up close. What looks great on stage is great, but when you're judging, there's so many good people, you have to get particular. And some stuff we judge on, you don't see because it's not about how big something is. It's about how detailed and the work and the zippers and the snaps and the sewing. So then, yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Sometimes it can come down to like how well you can move in it and like.
Right.
You're not going to fall down.
Right, and what you make and what you bought.
Yeah.
All that. Oh, somebody said that. Somebody says, "See you at Planet Comic. See you at Planet Anime on Sunday,
right.
Jen." All right.
Yeah. Hi, Bryce.
Hey, Bryce.
Yeah.
There you go.
So Kansas Con surprisingly big and awesome. What is the culture in Kansas? Yeah. Planet I think is something like 70,000 or so. And when I first started going to it, Becky. Going in costume, it's big. I went the year I went, and they brought me as a guest. Oh my God, it's huge. It's like they have everything. They have all the voice actors, and you have the actors, and they have all the local cosplayers. It's huge. It's a big turnout. In fact, it's definitely a big turnout. People have said, since I don't have much to compare to, but people have said that our cosplay culture is one of the best in the country. Like there is like 30% of the people there in costume. Like if not more.
Yeah, a lot of people dress up. That's one thing that's kind of cool. I found that the first time I've really experienced the dress up culture was when I left the country. I went to Germany 3 times. I went to Stuttgart, Germany, and Frankfurt. Both of them were just the Germans, and the costume culture was like there was very few people who were not dressed up. People came to my table and were just completely decked out, and I was just like overwhelmed with, oh my God, this is insane. And the level of just people that weren't competing, they're just walking around in these top-notch costumes. I'm like, oh my God, it's crazy. So yeah, the culture has changed from the time I started almost 10 years ago on YouTube. It's grown so dramatically, and I love it. I think it's fantastic. So yeah, it's just getting bigger everywhere. So all you people out there, please get into it. It's fun. More. I think more the better. I get sometimes people send me, hey, have you heard of so and so? I'm like, no. Yeah. I can't keep track of you guys. They're all so good. You can't keep up with them.
I like watching like who won at the big conventions to see like who I can follow next, and I'm always surprised at like where did this person come from?
Right?
Yeah.
Like who is this? And this movie quality foam costume, and people come up to me in these like breathtaking costumes and like, oh me, God, Evil Ted, you taught me everything. I'm like, yeah, but I didn't make that. You made it. I'm glad I gave you the knowledge, but the level you guys are taking what I've done and adding to it. It's like I always tell people, the detail is how much amount of work you want to put into something. Like, because mostly I work like an industry. When I build a costume, it's usually about 3, like if I'm building something that I have to do for a job, it's like 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks I have to do it. So it's a mad frantic rush. But then if you're building something for yourself, you can take 6 months. Yeah. You can take a year, and you can put as much work you want into it. That's always the thing with cosplay. It's not a job, it's fun, and you can put that level of detail into every piece you make so that when you show up to a con, you can just blow people away because it's your thing. Just take your time, man. Yeah. Jen learned it from Ted. Well, yeah, it's great stuff, Jen. And so, well, guys, we got 6:00. We're coming down to our time here, guys. We'll be wrapping up soon.
I I've been asked to do commissions before, and
Oh,
I've kind of I've done a couple for charity fashion shows now,
right. Yeah, I do things like when people
but
like for certain events. You're right.
and it's like it seems like one of those things where like yeah, making something for someone else is a kind of a scary step, especially if you can't bring them to your house to try it on them for like 10 times. Because I know, yeah, with me I'm like I sew a seam, I try it on, I sew a seam, I try it on, and so it's I give you props for being able to do that for like somebody you've never met before.
No, my
Like,
God, the stress doesn't change. I'm doing something right now for somebody that I can't speak of, and it's a crazy time crunch, and we have dimensions and our measurements on it written out, and I have a general idea what I'm doing, but we have to do a test fitting Tuesday, so I'm rushing to do that. And again, I'm not a big fan of doing commissions, but this is movie work, so it's like it's kind of for something. So
yeah.
oh, somebody said I like making stuff, but competing just seems nerve wracking. Here's my thing. I would make it. I do judging that which makes me have to work, but in my mind, I think everybody who steps up on stage in a costume, you are a winner. If you reach to a point where you built something that you are comfortable with, then you go to a convention and stand around all day with a bunch of other people in costumes, all hanging out, looking at each other, and then you build up that energy and you step up on stage and you do your movement or portray, be a character or whatnot. That, in my book, you are a winner, because the dedication, the time, and the energy and the excitement to push yourself to do that, and it's so much work in its own right. You're a winner, hands down, in my book. Everybody should get a prize for stepping on stage, but unfortunately, we live in a world where we have competition and somebody has to be a winner, and it's tough. But me, as an old guy growing up in a world where I got made fun of for wearing a costume. I got made fun of for loving sci-fi and weird books. I was from the 70s, guys, and we got picked and shunned on for liking nerdy stuff. Now, the nerd culture is so huge that there's hip people trying to get into our culture, and we're like, no, man, you got to earn it, because you got to be in it. What's this says? Cubs ask on Twitch. Oh, Cubs ask on Twitch says,
Will we see you at next year's Comic Con?
"Oh, will you say? Oh, so Cubs on Twitch was asking, will we see you at next year Comic Con? Which Comic Con?
There's so many.
There's so many. You have to be Cubs. Which con?
Yeah.
There's so many Comic Cons. There's Planet, San Diego, New York. Yeah, there's so many cons. Pick, because the big one I really love. I love Emerald City Comic Con. I was at that's the one
Is it? It's up north.
yeah, it's up north, and Emerald City Comic Con. I was there once, and that was an amazing. It's another great cosplay culture of just so many friendly, wonderful people in costumes, just for the sake of wearing costumes and walking around and talking with friends. There's different groups and Fallout groups and like video game groups, and there's my biggest one was Destiny. It's a big Destiny game, and there were these Destiny groups and all these different subcultures of game groups and people in costumes. And it wasn't competition; it was just people wanted to dress up and hang out together. And I loved it so much. But it's one of those things where it's just my scheduling, money, and work. Like, so I'm always trying to get Emerald City to bring me out, so I can just do it on so I can just hang out and get paid for it. But it's just a great concept. If you guys haven't done Emerald City, it's one of the great destinations. San Diego Comic Con is too big. I like it, did it, but it's too big now. It's just such a production. So, but hold on. They asked specifically about Chicago.
Yeah.
They asked specifically about Chicago. Yeah, I went to C2E2. So would you ever be to Chicago? You ever think about doing Chicago?
Yeah, that's one we were actually just looking at how much train tickets would be.
Ooh, that's right, because
so-
you guys are close.
Yeah. So if it's kind of like just how scheduling and money works out, I really want to go. It's in April, so
Okay.
we've got time to plan. And yeah, if anybody wants to ask me to be a guest,
See? Hey, guys. Again, really quickly, if you people watching, if you'd like Jen or I to be a guest, how it works is that we don't really have any choices. We'd like Jen's like, she came here for LACon. She's going to try to go to Chicago. But in the future, if you guys would like us as guests, write to your local convention and let them know, hey, because they don't, they kind of pick the popular people, or they pick people who are local. But if you guys want somebody like ourselves, you got to write to the convention themselves and say, hey, we'd love to have these guys as a guest. So So please, thank you guys so much. But yeah, it's so guys. So we got 1 minute. We're gonna wrap this show up, guys. Oh wait, it says, do you either? Oh, do you either attend? I am in talks. I can't say right now. I was out. I was at Northern Fan Con, which was great in Canada, but I can't really say right now. But I'm in talks about going to con in Canada, but not yet.
Yeah.
We're in talks. I can't say who or what, but I'm in talks because I love Canada. I was there. I've been to Northern Fan Con twice, and that was a lot of fun. And so hopefully, but again, let them know.
Yeah, I would definitely go if asked.
Yes, let them know, guys, that you'd like to be there. All right, guys. Everybody, again, thank you so much, Jen, Fancy Jen Cosplay, for coming on my show, Coffee Talk.
Thank you for having me.
This has been fun, guys. Everybody, thank you for joining the chat. Everybody on Twitch, thank you for translating the questions through Twitch, asking. Great, we love it. If you guys like this show, please hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe, leave comments below. If this is your first time on my channel, don't forget to subscribe. And you guys can find Jen at, again, what's your full name again?
It's Fancy Jen Cosplay.
And all social media?
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much. There you go. Just do a search on that, and you'll find her. Guys, thank you so much for watching. We're going to wrap it up. Again, bye, everybody. Thank you for coming. Oh, that was my... that's me telling me the show's over.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Right. Oh, it's at the... Oh, sorry, guys.
Okay. She says, now go drink.
Yeah, there's
drinking
your coffee. There you go.